I've learned to own my smile. It's not a forced smile. There was a time my smile was very fake. So happiness is Punjabi digital media was very sensational. There was negative news.
Oh,
There
yes.
was news of literally Gharelu. There's a fight. A husband is catching his wife having an affair. So that kind of news were going on. At that point, I just decided that I'm not going to do that. There was a time I used to keep my ring on just to pretend that I'm married. Started working. Men being men, they will hit on a single woman. And once the ring is off, you're a free target. I used to get really upset, and my sister said something very nice to me. She said, maybe you're there to, set the standard. Maybe you're there to teach these men. No.
Ma'am, thank you so much for being on the podcast. So the reason I wanted to speak with you is because there are a lot of things that are not so much often talked about, especially in the society we live in. So first of all, thank you so much for being on the podcast,
My
ma'am.
pleasure.
So I just wanted to start with this is a question that I've asked to a lot of guests on the podcast, and while we were having the conversation before this, I felt that I should ask you this question. Do you think everything happens for a greater good? Because I know you have been through a lot of ups and downs in your life. So in hindsight, do you think whatever happened or the decisions you made, do you think it happened for a greater good?
Greater good for my good, yes. The journey that my soul is supposed to take, yes, I do think, because at that point there are a lot of things. I was very angry with my family, my father, with the world, that why did you not let me decide my own path? Why did you. But then I realize now that I'm glad I did not go down that road. I won't be the person I am today. Maybe life would have been easier, but I won't be the person I am today.
Do you think, for people who get things in life very easily, do you think it made you a better person because you had a lot of challenges, you had a lot of difficulties, lot of hurdles?
Maybe I was the kind of person who was not ready to learn an easy lesson. Some people are ready to learn the life lessons easily, and so maybe life gives it. Maybe I am the kind of person who's a very stubborn person and needed some hard lessons to
Okay.
learn my true potential or what I'm capable of.
Do you enjoy this life?
Oh, it's the days I'm very
Yeah.
happy, the times I'm very good, but yes, somewhere however the paths are different. As a girl child, you're trained to be something else. There's something in you which makes you desire the normal things. And when everybody around you is normal and you're the only so-called abnormal or so-called different person who has a different life, how many separated women do you see in
Not
this
a
society?
lot, not a lot.
So and then when you have to go to a court and be cross-examined for a divorce, and everybody says, why are you fighting for divorce? रहने दे, ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा, चुपचाप जियो. Then you're like, no, I want my name to be my own.
Yes.
Things you want. So there are desires that have been maybe part of my training, or I often think, like, what is my journey supposed to be? Am I supposed to find happiness just on your own? Like a lot of people say, happiness is within. But if we as human beings have come on this earth, isn't it all about making relations? Isn't it about a man-woman relationship? So that is always on my mind. Some desires are there, but I've learned to own my smile. It's not a forced smile. There was a time my smile was very fake. So happiness is hard work.
Absolutely. I think being happy or finding happiness in yourself is one of the toughest things, but it's worth it. I believe it's worth it.
Yeah, because you have to live. Either you can choose
Yeah,
to live
you
in
don't have a
sadness.
choice.
Yeah, you have a choice. I tried that also. I went down that black hole also. But you have a choice. But if you have decided to live, then I don't want to live like a depressed, sad person. I want to enjoy every moment. So even if this is not the life that I dream of, maybe I have more desires unfulfilled, I'm still going to enjoy this day I am living. That is the only thing I have decided.
So, to me, you seem like a woman who has made like a lot of unconventional decisions. You have tried a lot of things. So do you still do that? Like especially in your professional life, now you're leading a team, like you're leading so many people, you are responsible for so many people. Do you think, or do you take unconventional decisions right now?
I don't know. I don't think of them. They're unconventional. I think if you go back, why were we happy as children? Because we always listen to our heart, right? So here also, I tried when I came into journalism. When I started my career, I went into NGO. I was working with child labor. So I was very happy working with children. This was talking about politics all day. Now I'm a political journalism, dealing with politicians, and as a Rogerian psychologist, you have the, I guess, ability or disability to look at everybody, the good in everybody,
Okay.
and to deal with a politician and see a good in them. So it's very difficult. Here also, I've learned to listen to my heart. That I don't follow when we started this channel. Digital, because I didn't have the money to start a proper satellite or channel. I had my gold jewelry that, and I sold it off, and some I took a gold loan on because I didn't want to be a burden and say कि पैसे लेके फिर से start life again.
Yes.
So at that point, Punjabi digital media was very sensational. There was negative news.
Oh,
There
yes.
was news of literally Kharelu. There's a fight. A husband is catching his wife having an affair. So that kind of news were going on. At that point, I just decided that I'm not going to do that. So positive stories, and I think we created a niche for ourselves that people expect positive stories which work towards solutions, work towards deeper conversations. So when I started, because I'm a psychologist, so my interviews were very calm conversations. So people used to comment that you're not asking, you're not interrupting, but I don't want to. I want to listen. So, but now I think where we've reached, it's a daily struggle to be number one, number two, number three channel. But if we are in the top, then I would say that yes, people have learned to listen along with me. So we have created that market. So this is about listening to your heart, I think.
Something you said, this is, I think, the most underrated skill, to be an empathetic listener. And I think that's one of the, I think that must be one of the major factors that contributes toward your success, that you are a very empathetic listener. The kind of vibe that you have in your conversations, they're very calm, they're very composed, and you don't only hear things, but you listen things, you actually try to get deeper into a conversation. And I think not a lot of journalists do that, so kudos to you for that. And this is something we have gotten so many times, that ask us tikhe sawal pucho, this has happened to us so many times, and I could relate to you for this. But again, the kind of decisions you have been taking, they are again very commendable. So again, kudos to you, ma'am. So I wanted to talk about one thing. So I know a lot of people between the age of 16 to 24, and given the society that we live in, after 24 as well, there's a lot of sense of shame, the feeling of shame. Some of it is self-inflicted, but a lot of it is coming from external factors, maybe your family, your relatives, your friends, or people around you. And now I know that you have had your challenges with shame. So do you think, and again in hindsight, do you think that whatever you did, was it right, and what are things you should not have done? When people around you, let's say, were shaming you, right? What are things you think now, okay, I should not have done this? Maybe if I would have reacted in a different way, I could have been, in a better situation.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I could have. Very few regrets I have. I have, maybe at this point in life, I've come to peace or terms with what happened, how it happened, and so no. But I don't feel any, I tried the time when I had shape. I was having a very difficult time in my marriage, and I hid it from everybody because that
Okay.
was supposed to be not supposed to tell anybody. And I think that was the biggest mistake I did, hiding because of shame. That how can my marriage not succeed? I took it on me.
Yes.
So had I been honest about it at that point, had I accepted the shame, maybe I wouldn't have put my sons through so much. I wouldn't have put my family through so much, because so by the time I got out of that, I had PTSD, my son had depression, he had symptomatic dyslexia, attention deficit. So, I came to back to my parents' house and I was broken. My kids are broken. So, poor them had to at that age, start looking after us. And but that's life. As parents, we all sign up for it. So I had to be the mother. My parents had to be my parents again. So I think shame needs to stop. And now I've I try to fit in and I try to hide. There was a time I used to keep my ring on just to pretend that I'm married, and so gradually was I letting go of that shame. I am single. I can't help it. If somebody will not. My childhood friends have stopped calling me to their homes because they felt that they just assume that it's a woman is single, she's a cougar on the prowl, and she's so a lot of things I had to face and accept, and I cut off those people from my life. I have very good friends now. I have friends who know me, my character, and who trust me, and who include me and my children in their life as we three are a unit. So shame was there, but I don't hide that I had depression, I had PTSD. Maybe psychology was my subject, so never took it as this thing. So I was very open. Acha, if somebody asks, yeah, I tried to commit suicide, I'll be very okay about sharing, because we all have those moments. And in our dinner table, we sit and have discussion, and then we'll be laughing. Oh, you're depression. Oh, you're dyslexic. So it's like and my son is 16 now, and he's a wonderful human being who laughs at his own weakness. I laugh at my own weakness. So I think, ab nahi shame.
I think this is a amazing tip for people who are going through that sense of shame, because something that you said, because you were hiding it, it made it bigger.
Yeah.
When you talk about it, it normalizes your trauma or whatever you're going through. When you talk about it to other people, like they also sort of understand. But when you're not, you just make it bigger. And something that you said about mental health, how you had PTSD, your son had your son had dyslexia. So now I know a lot of people who are going through a lot of mental health issues, but first they cannot identify. Second, they have this stigma of going to a therapist, and this is because of the society. So what would you suggest for people, let's say, who are listening to this conversation and probably going through a lot of mental health struggles but cannot open up about it, or probably cannot see a therapist because of the whole stigma and the stereotype that if you go to a therapist, then you are you're mentally ill, right? So I just want to understand, what would you suggest?
I would say just look at that actor Sushant Kapoor.
Sushant Singh Rajput.
So look at that guy. He had so much money. He had reached success. He had love. He had everything. He had a family, but he wasn't open about it. And look at Deepika Padukone.
Yes.
She's open
yes.
about it. And look how openness changes everything.
Sure.
We think that if people think we are okay, that means we are okay. Our image in society is okay. But end of the day, you have to live your life with yourself and your close family. And if you're not okay, talk to Sushant Singh's father. And wouldn't he be happier right now if he had told, if Sushant had accepted his illness properly, taken treatment even in a better way, and the whole family had stepped forward and realized what depression is, he would be still alive. So maybe the loss is not that big every time. My father would be happy that finally when I opened up that I cannot handle this relationship anymore, and he became like my wall and he took over. My doctor told, if you continue like this, I don't guarantee that you will survive, and then your children will be orphans instead of So my father would be happy, my mother would be happier that I'm there, and it's a little different life rather than me not being there at all. So that's what we have to understand. It is sometimes circumstances. Supposing you overuse your body, and your knees, runners, athletes, their knees work.
Yes.
So if life has given you stress and your hormones and your you lose some chemicals in your body and your brain not able to cope, that is what mental health is.
True.
So if you see it like that, that's also a part of body.
Absolutely.
Is if somebody can't walk on their wheelchair, and if somebody can't talk because they're sad, so we have to see it like that. And once you accept your all your weaknesses, you are a stronger person. So I used to be like, full of fear that I'm always going to be lonely. That was my biggest fear in life. How will I bring up my kids alone? How will I manage them? They're used to a particular lifestyle. How will I sustain it? I am not capable of earning. I was a psychologist who went into social work. I didn't know how to make money. I did not know how to write a check or how to balance my accounts and think about investments and shares. My son just made some money on Bitcoin, so that's not me, my son. So it's just like I remember reading Guru Nanak. Since we were talking about Osho and Guru Nanak, I've forgotten what, but it's about accept your biggest fears. So I remember sitting down one weekend and accepting that I am lonely, and that is what scares me. How will I do it all alone? It's like as if I'm carrying my whole world on my shoulders. And when I accepted that loneliness, that fear, that yes, this is me, this is it, it became easier, because then it became a part of me that this is it, this is who I am. I'm not giving up my desires, but for now, this is what it is. And I look back at myself, what I was 10 years from now. I could not step out of my room. I could not talk to people. My mother would drag me to office, and I would be like, people used to not see this girl could not. Gurpreet Kugi, I did his first interview, and now I recently did his interview. He said, "Do you realize there's some people who were very nice to me initially?"
Long way, you have come a long way.
He said, like, this girl could not ask questions. She used to hesitate to ask questions, and today she's having conversations with us about everything. So that journey had to be. I think the work journey depends on your personal journey. So if you're not happy, it will show in your work. It will show in your parenting. It will show everywhere.
Absolutely.
So you have to find that inner emotional calm place so that you can function.
I think that's a process of getting more self-aware. So I do some pro bono work for emotional intelligence, and I think the first step always is to accept, embrace, and getting more self-aware.
Yeah.
After that, you need to put into action. That's a different ball game. But always the first step is to get more self-aware. I have a question. Do you consider yourself as successful?
It depends on your parameters of success.
But comparatively.
Well, I'm independent. It's not like success to me be owning my own house made of my own money, which I have not reached there. Haven't been dependent on anybody to be contributing. Yes, I am. Success, I don't know. I had a very sweet moment a little while ago. I was in the Singhu border. My son had come with me with the farmers' protest. And we were walking, and I was for an interview. I had to walk miles, and he wanted to see. And people were looking, and they're like, "Mom, you're a celebrity." So when he said it, and he looked at with me with this pride, because he always he called me depressed. What's happening? So he makes fun of me. So when he said, "Oh, Mom, you're a celebrity," and I'm like, okay. So they are when they look at me with this pride and say, "Mom, look at you, you've come so way, you're making money," and they stand up for me. Yeah, it feels nice, but I don't know. Success, I don't know. It's too early to say.
So the people who had left you a few years ago, like because you were single, not fitting into their social social places, do they come back to you after you have gotten comparatively successful?
There are those kind of people, but I also understand, and I am realize that I will only keep the people who make me happy, who do not. So I have very few good friends. I'm not the party type of person who do not judge me or accept me for who I am, and they've been with me all this time. So yeah, I know कौन use करना आता है, who wants to use you, who wants to use your success. So I think hopefully I will learn that lesson.
A lot of people would want to associate with you because you are, let's say, interviewing top politicians. You have been you get a lot of limelight.
Yes, you do.
Right. So another, because you talked about journalism. Now I know journalism is a male-dominated field.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you knew it when you were getting into it. So what was your mindset when you gotten into journalism?
Journalism, see, my father is a journalist, and this organizer, the newspaper is started by him. So
Yes.
I've hated journalism all my life, because all my dad did was, he was from a business family. He left his family, he started journalism. All my life we see struggle. Like, I don't want to struggle. I'm living in Chandigarh in Punjab. All my life I was just hiding, because we were the kind brought up. My dad was only keen on us reading, and we
Okay.
had books were the best friends we had. So, and books, once you start reading in Chandigarh, brought up English books, and you're half Western, you're not your clothes, your
Oh,
Chandigarh girls are
absolutely.
very different, and he was interacting with all the Punjab and the journalism and all that, and I never fitted in. He would just say, by the end he was so used to my rebelling, he's like, he used to call me a gypsy. He's like, I don't know what to do with you. So I would be wearing shorts, and there would be these Panthak Akali people coming
Yes,
to the
yes,
house,
yes.
and they would be looking at she's, and I would just say, please hide. That's all I asked for, just hide. So my thing was just to get away from this city, and so when I came back, and all I knew was psychology and social work. Psychology also I left. I work on torture and trauma, but I got more into social work. I've been running an NGO on child labor for last 22 years now. I couldn't make money, and I'm not gonna take money for the NGO and live on that. I didn't want to go that line, so I had only option left कि अब join the parents' business. So I came here for the business side. So my mother is
Okay.
the one who handles the business side. So I started here as they taught me collections and advertising, and then didn't know how to handle money like that. So somehow I got into writing, and then I started writing an opinion column, छोटा सा column होता था
Okay.
on women issues, child human rights issues, because that was what I had worked on, so it was easy to write. And then slowly, politicians didn't want to do. So when I created my team, so I would leave the political and the women issues for myself, political issues for them. But then something happened that person who was handling politics wasn't there. So now it's like, अब तो करना ही पड़ेगा, कोई option नहीं है. And I have a lot of people had complained, you are the most anti-social introvert editor, nobody talks to people. So then I had to come out of my shell and deal with everybody. I was very happy going to the villages and talking with normal. I was very happy at the borders, and that वो
Okay.
सब करा लो मुझसे. But talking to a politician and trying to figure out
क्या इसके बीच क्या एजेंडा है? Why is he saying
agenda,
that?
and then they all come with I don't know, I'm only a Sikh girl, that's all I know. I don't know whether I'm Papa, I'm a Jat, there's so many castes. I
Oh,
thought,
yes.
then finally I learned to check Papa and Jat, then I realized I'm more. So we were never taught that, because my father was like very followed Guru Nanak to the T. Okay, so there's no this thing in conversation in our house. So even my son, he's like singing Jat songs. I said, why are you singing? He said, Mama, I said, we're not Jats, we're Papa. But Mama, Papa is a gal. I said, no, Papa's not a gal, they're Papas. So everything was we were brought up very different. I tell my father, you did not prepare for us to be here. So it was not even male dominated. It was working in Punjab, in journalism. Everything was not what I was expecting life to give me.
Well, again, I can relate because so for the first 15 years of my life, I was in a like small town called Malod, right? And then I came to Chandigarh. So in Malod, I would speak. I did not know any other language than except Punjabi. So I'd come here. I took admission in one of the schools, like not very top notch, but a good school. And everyone there would speak in English and Hindi, and I would lock myself, I would not speak to other people so much. I would only hang out with people who knew how to speak Punjabi. That was a very difficult time. And then there's one point when it all turned, because so there's this quiz competition, RBA quiz competition. I went to a good school and I stood second, and there were all the other schools around of Tri-City, all the top notch schools and everything, and I felt okay, probably I don't know their language, which is just a form of communication,
Yeah.
but does not mean that my intellectual level or the kind of skills that I have, they are anywhere lesser than what they have, right? So that is my point. So I would read Champak when I was back in Malod, and here I would read Calvin and Hobbes and all those Archie's comics and all those top notch English childhood comics
That's
and
how
everything.
you learn, and that's how your thought process changes. I spent 2 years just put earphones in my and listen to Punjabi music. That's how I brushed up. And thankfully I had done Punjabi till 10th class.
Okay.
So only Andi Sigi. But when you think in a language, you know how it goes, and
Uh-huh.
Now I'm messed up. My English is messed up. My Punjabi is better than my English, I think.
For me, so when Ayush got in touch with me, okay, you know Punjabi, you can do Punjabi interviews, right? So we started as a Punjabi / Hindi podcast. My Hindi is okay because like it's better than Punjabi now. But you know, I just reflect on these things that now I think in English as well, right? But now, like you know, my Punjabi is okay, but I don't have that kind of vocabulary because the kind of people I interacted with, all of them, you know, knew English because like I was in a place where we were like people from more than 10 countries living in same place. So the only common language that we had was English, right? So now I think, you know, it happened for a greater good. Like I came to Chandigarh, like I went through a very sad phase for 2-3 months when, you know, it was all okay. I don't know Hindi, I don't know I don't know English, I just know Punjabi. People think that okay, he's a small town guy. He
And
does
the
not
comments, that social media commenting is so
Oh,
horrible.
so much.
They will comment on everything. I don't know if men face it how much, but women to matlab, they love to. So because I'm a Chandigarhian Punjabi and my parents are from Pakistan, so our Punjabi is very soft and doesn't have any accent.
Hmm.
They comments on that. So like, but now I think people have gotten used to us like that.
So again, you talked about social media. Now I think social media has added so much to, you know, the degrading of mental health because now it's not only about you know, playing in the streets and everything. Now it's about how many likes you're getting on Instagram, and now it's about how many people are watching your TikTok. Now it's about, you know, what kind of comments you're getting. So have you because you are like, you know, you're a big deal on social media, have you faced that kind of like, you know, derogatory comments from people coming
बहुत
in?
ज़्यादा.
How do you deal with that?
I should get sad.
You do?
I used
Yes.
to, not anymore. Then I got aggressive, then I started fighting, then I picked up the Gandhigiri, Viji please gaal na kaddo. Yesterday I interviewed a lady and she's slightly controversial with all this Lakkastana Deep and all that
Okay.
going on. So she had some insights about one of them and people were abusing. I lost it, then I wrote it. I said, I have never been so embarrassed by old men, women abusing another. They weren't abusing me, but her. Another woman like that. I said, like, where is the Punjabiyat? Where is the Sikhism?
Yes.
Which? So I don't know how. Sometimes, you know, a lot of people used to tell me, Nimrat, you need to go out on the real Punjab. You're a Chandigarhian Punjabi, so you don't know what the real Punjab is. My father never abused like ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮਾਂ ਭੈਣ ਦੀਆਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ. It was not done. I am surprised that the Sikhi that we've been taught, or the Punjabi that we've been taught, it's like the only religion which gives equality to women. Women are so strong. But then you see these old men sitting and abusing a woman and women abusing other women. So I'm like, what are these? These are just fake Punjabis,
Where are
fake
your
Sikhs.
values?
Yeah, I mean, because we need to be better than so much richness in our religion and our culture. We need to be better than that. So sometimes I do pick up fight, but I know I don't get sad about them. Then I realize that forgive them for they don't know better. So like that kind of attitude.
So when you interview a person, like especially like, you know, a person who is famous politically or even in terms of business or anything, like a person who is popular, and I'm sure you study about that person before going to the interview. How do you make sure that your bias does not get into the interview?
Just very tough. Some people, political ideologies, you know, you just and
Because so
yeah, it happens.
before that, I'm
happens.
sure you also have a inclination, right,
Of
right or
course,
left.
yeah,
And then
you-
if let's say if you have an, I'm not assuming, but if you have an inclination towards slightly to the left, and you're interviewing a person who is towards the right, I'm sure the, you know, the conflict and the bias has.
There is, and people do say, oh, she's you know, towards one party or towards the other party. I'm a human being. I try my best, so I try not to interrupt anybody. I try to be the same with everybody. But your questions become. I mean, I'm a human being. If it come in my expression, but then what can I do? I'm not a machine. So, if it shows, it shows. But my always thing is to let the other person see. So I have done some people who ideologies I don't agree, whose work I don't agree, but who psychologists in you tries to find the good in them also, and their reasoning why they did a particular thing, what do they think. And sometimes when you interact with people, you realize that uh, human beings तो सारे वही आ जाते हैं ना. If they are from a particular ideology, it doesn't make them bad. So they are following their own. Even when farmers issue, so that's the latest issue going on. They are people who are on the other side, but they are still human beings, and they are following their
Yes.
political ideology which they have been brought up. So you can try to reason, try to ask questions, but they think this law is going to be good. And I feel, I mean, I'm not a farmer. I've never, don't even have a farming background. But what I understand and what I do is, I feel it's not a good law. But if somebody across the table feels it's a good law, I did try to give them ask the questions and give them time to, give their rest. Democracy hai, rope it ke, people will decide, the votes will decide.
I think so. This, it all boils down to, we all have different perspectives. But now, because we have so much abundance of content, so much data, so much things we can look up on internet, I think we need to do better. That's what I think. Especially like
But
you need
we
to
don't
understand.
do better.
We don't. But
do
we
better. Very
need
few
to.
people will research, and very few people will actually want to look into facts. People are so easy. Now we started a new fact checking thing in Punjabi.
Okay.
Such and Jhoot. So try to at least figure out. So my team has clear instructions. So there'll be channels will be going live with 1,000 people watching with a fake news. They're like, no, you will not do it. We might be going down that day. It doesn't matter. We will not do fake news. We will not do sensationalism. We will not enter a husband-wife's bedroom. We will not do those kind of things. My biggest problem is interviewing women who have somehow come out, got the opportunity to be out in the world, and the world has supported them, and still misuse that power. That is a bigger challenge for me. I don't know, I get really upset because I feel it's very difficult for women to come out like here. So I get very upset my anchors if they try to use it. So don't cry in my office. I don't want, I'll stand by them, I'll support them whatever way they want. Raat ko, if they're getting late, wherever, make sure their safety, or in office, if anybody, I'll stand up with a girl. Men have a very, this thing that we know better. So,
Yes.
no. The anchors have cried. The cameraman will tell them, no, we know better. Like, no. Anchor is girl. The moment you will learn to listen. So there's a lot of ways I support them. But when they get weak and use the old tools, no, not happening. So now they've all learned to, cry, I will kill you.
It is important because, so let's say there's a marginalized community, like there's a very small chunk of people who have gotten out of all the stereotypes they used to have. Now let's say if you are one of them, you're representing the whole community. Now if I know you and if you do something, then my idea would be what you do to me. My idea of the whole community is going to be of my opinion of you. I'll create a opinion of the whole community because of you.
So when I started working, men being men, they will hit on a single woman, and once the ring is off, you're a free target. I used to get really upset, and my sister said something very nice to me. She said, maybe you're there to set the standard. Maybe you're there to teach these men. No. And I have reached a point when those very men, because I can't keep changing the men, the political structure or the work, they are going to be there, that's their position. But they've learned to deal with me with respect.
Okay.
The same man will talk to me, ask for my opinion, be good, working relations, working friends, and they've learned to respect me. So I think you always look for a bigger reason. It might be tough on me, but then hopefully that's the big greater reason, purpose you have, that you have in your life. So yeah.
So one thing that has troubled me so much is the romanticization of this thing, ki women work for so many hours, they are not paid. And I've seen this, let's say on Mother's Day, people would romanticize this thing, okay, your mother works for 15 hours a day and don't get paid. I think that's wrong. If you romanticize it, it means that you're promoting it, you're encouraging it. And I think there has to be equal division of, let's say, household work or all the responsibilities that you have. So I just want to know your take on this.
Absolutely, but that training has to start young. It's not going to start with a man that you're in love with. You expect कि suddenly आके काम करना शुरू
हाँ.
कर देगा. So we look at the Western men because that is their training. Even the
Right.
girls, what we have done here is that we made our girls as useless as the men. But then we have help, so we get away with that. But as a mother, yes, I realized that. I tried. My sons know how to. The younger one is a foodie, so he likes to cook. But the elder one also can manage. They know I have my periods going on. Mama ki back dard ho rahi hai. Mama needs a foot massage. So my son used to be very, feel awkward. We pad used to call it mama diapers at one point. So now they can very comfortably walk into a chemist and get me my sanitary napkins. So these kind of changes, yes, they need to be brought up.
Yes.
So they know कि अच्छा, if I'm coming home and I'm tired, don't think कि आज order out कर लेंगे या whatever. Because or I'll tell my son, अच्छा, I'm really tired now. Today you manage. So you make up. You have to get the change, but the change needs to start with women more than men, I think. We take everything very easily. We say, "Acha, it's okay. Men will be men." That sentence needs to really go. Men will not be men.
Yes.
Men will be what you make them, and women will be what you make them.
Absolutely. I hope this reaches to more and more people and I think that's beautiful the way you have taught your children about periods, sanitary napkins, about your sexuality, and there are more things that are not very often talked about, marital rape. If you have any other kind of sexual orientation, right? So we categorize people as okay, male and female, but there are different kinds of
Yeah,
genders.
yeah.
So all these things, but I want to know from you. So you already told that it has to start from your childhood. So what are the privileges or what kind of education or what kind of mentality your children would have that you did not had when you were younger, or and this would also serve as a message for all the people in their, let's say, late 20s, or the typical age of getting getting children. So if they would if this can impact even one person, I think my job is done.
See, I had a lot of privileges as a child. I can't say that because my mother, had she had a way, she would have brought me up very prim and proper.
Okay.
And that is the dressing part and everything, and that comes from my mother. My father, he's a Guru Nanak follower. Not a one word he would not follow him. So for him to bring up as equal was his this thing. So I never knew that there's something wrong with me, or I'm the weaker sex. I knew how to get my car serviced, change a tire. Only thing was अच्छा रात को नहीं जाना, something. So I wasn't prepared for the world that I am gonna go out and I'm gonna be the lesser one. I remember once in school, one of these men, and he said, "मेरी माँ मेरी पैर दी जुत्ती हैगी." Typical. I whacked him on the face, and he whacked me back, and I was like, "What?" So I've had those kind of fights. I used to cycle to school. So my father, I tell him that I said, "I am the problem that you have created because you've made me so strong." And even my sister, we are very strong characters. We didn't know we're supposed to cook, and we are supposed to do somebody else, and खाना आ जाएगा, खाना ही है ना. It's not my job. Is my book being read? That is the most important thing. So but he did, again, he made us so strong and independent, but then he did put boundaries. So for my children, I haven't put those boundaries of religion, of those things. So them, I'll do whatever you feel like doing. The conversations, and my father also, poor guy, he's got used to weird conversations. So the conversation will happen about drugs also, about depression also, cross sexuality also, relationships also. Everything will happen, and we tease the kids that, oh, are you bisexual? Are you going to be a cross dresser? Everything. So those conversations that my father had opened up for us, obviously in this generation they have gone further. So I think I'm a privileged one.
Well, so I ask a lot of people if they recognize their privileges, and they've already answered that. And I see a lot of commonality because the place I come from, obviously it was a very small town, but the kind of mentality and the kind of culture we had at our home, it was beautiful. And still, to this date, I'm 23, my sister is 30. Whatever I have to do, my parents, they say you don't need our permission, you need your sister's permission. So be it anything, like if I want to travel abroad, or if I want to hang out with people, like want to travel somewhere, like anything, even if I'm like starting a new podcast, I'd ask my mom or dad, okay, should I do this? We don't know, just ask your sister. Would you believe I've just gotten, like, my dad has beaten me just one time, and that was the time when I said something to my sister, like in a bad way.
Okay.
So that's the only time I've gotten a beating from my dad.
So that's a Punjabi culture. I know that is how we are supposed to be. We, daughters are not lesser than that. That's why you see
Absolutely.
strong women. So when these things happen, I find it very weird. So yeah, we are the privileged lot.
Absolutely, and again, it's beautiful that you acknowledge your privileges. And again, like one of the few last questions I have for you. So you have recognized your privileges, and I know that you have used your privileges for a better purpose. But if you can also tell the people, because you were talking about your NGO, and now I've seen you as a voice for the marginalized people, marginalized communities. So just want to understand, how have you used your privileges for the betterment of the people around you?
I don't know if I'm bettering. It's just what makes me feel. Uh,
I
okay
think
to
you
write
are
about.
being modest, because
No. You see, child labor psychologists say so. My first job was in an international NGO where we were working on torture and trauma.
okay,
So I've worked in all these ashrams and setting up a torture and trauma, and I've worked under really great group of social workers in psychology, international level, PGI wale hote the. So I've had really good grounding. From there, my own NGO with a group of friends, we started on child labor. So work like that. Maybe life में वो training थी, and with the kind of parenting we had, very loving childhood. My parents are totally in love with each other. I in fact have a thing. I want to start the Living Hiranjas, and I want to start with them because they love each other like crazy. Even now they are 78 and 80, and their mom had COVID. My dad was standing outside her window and looking at her, and they're both like having romantic
It's romantic,
conversation.
yes.
Yeah, so that I blame Mitna, and I don't have that love. I want that love. So it's just, again, privilege is that we are born to. I'm selfish also. It's not like I do everything for the society and nothing for myself. Even when I started the NGO, we would say you have to wear khaddar. I was like, I'm not going to wear khaddar. I will wear my. So I'm not going to wear the phase that I wore the darkest colors was when I was depressed.
okay.
So I love colors. I love dressing up. I will wear my walis. I will put on my makeup. I will look after myself. So I have my selfish. I have my desires. So I have done all that. So, and I think only reason I can write for any other person is because I have stood up for myself also. If you don't stand up for yourself, what right do you have to write for anything else? So my writings are, I think, more rebellious than my speech, because when I speak, generally interviews hoti hain, so I'm asking the other person, is what you see and whatever point of view have you, write that. And over the years, my writing has gone into like, how can we change that, and how
Okay.
we contributed to that. So even if it's talking about, I have talked about rape. I think I got an award from a group of village women who said that nobody has ever talked about marital rape in our society. So I have talked about issues which obviously men can't, and they don't even understand that it's rape is not, कि बच्चों से गलती होगी.
Yes.
Like we have that. So I don't know. It just comes from my. If it was domestic violence, if it was child labor, if it was it's mainly the things I've experienced myself also. So obviously that's where it started, and then I don't know. I think it's been my journey of listening to my heart, whatever touches my heart. So I'll be sitting there, holding my pen, reading the newspaper, looking at news, and talking to everybody till I find something that touches my heart. And maybe that's one word that touches my heart, and I will write that. So it's वो बहुत है कि मुझे दुनिया चेंज करनी है, वो कुछ करनी है. That is all. I think. Let's not be that much of put that much importance on ourselves also, that thinking that we are out to there to make a change, like we can change the world, or I'm going to be the voice of the marginalized. No, I think my purpose is just to be the right person myself. In the process of being myself, yes, maybe I can do the thing which helps.
See, where I stand on this, on what you spoke, if you're able to impact one person, there's a chain reaction. That person impacts more people, and there's a snowball effect, and you never know how big it is. Like, I'm sure, because when you talked about marital rape, like, like you said, a group of women, they gifted you, right? So if you're able to impact even one of them,
Yes, true. But the thing is, I did not do it because I felt for their women. I did things which felt me. So let me be selfish and saying that I wanted to be happy myself. I wanted to be that child who was so happy before life happened, like out of my parents. Say, I wanted to be that person who was so carefree and who did not care, who did not have secrets, who did not have shame. So it was my journey. So in my journey, I have, because
Yes.
maybe I have had my family is like a very supportive, loving family. I mean, I think my parents gave me birth second time when they let me cut this marriage off and come
Okay.
back. So many women will not get. And left to my mother, maybe I still would have not got. She would say, "कोई गल नहीं बच्चे ऐसा ही होता तो चुप रह तो चुप रह." And I was like, चुप रह के I was choking to death, and
Yes.
that चुप रहना was not my thing. कि चुप रह कैसे चुप रहूँ मैं. So it was basically I stood up for, and that also my father and my sister became my spine. Literally, I was dead person. My smile was fake, and everything. Oh, she's so pretty. She looks so happy, and inside I was just breaking.
choking, yes.
So they literally became my spine and literally forced me to be the person I am. So I think in this world today, strong women are those who have life has given them no other choice but to be strong. Given a choice, I would still go and hide. But then when the responsibilities come on
Bigger
you,
responsibility.
yeah, your children's responsibilities.
Absolutely.
That's yeah.
So now, like, I'm going to make an observation. By the virtue of you finding your own happiness, and you had a platform to write about it or speak about it, just because of that platform, a lot of people could relate to you, and this is the reason they got inspired from you, or they got more aware of what you had to share. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and the kind of, or like, because now you have a platform, I'm sure you're going to use it, maybe again for selfish reasons, but by the virtue of that, a lot of people are going to get impacted.
Yeah.
And the way you have made this transition, like how you said that now all or whatever you write is very action oriented, like future oriented. How can you solve it? Not only addressing the problem, but also making sure, okay, this is the solution. This is how we can solve it. I want to know top 3 things that probably our society, especially in Punjab, that something that they need to do right now. Like it already it's too late, I think. But again, what are things that a person has to do right now to solve, like maybe starting from their own homes? Like what are things they need to do right now?
The Fukrapanti has to go.
Oh,
It's
yes.
like we are living an image, but reality is very different.
Mm.
And what has happened is, when I interact, I realize that you cannot judge a person by their clothes or by their action, because it's a habitual image making process going on. You cannot, figure out who the person is. And I think they need to not that. I think the Fukrapanti is the biggest thing that has got Punjab, and this I am Jat and I am this and very much. I recently interviewed some leader, political activist, and he said few things. He let me put the interview online, and I was like, "Enne vadde dole te himmat te kakh di nahi hai. I am ready to stand by you and say what you not ready to let me put the interview on," because it was just slightly saying the truth. And I'm like, what is this all about? You come across as this huge youth leader, and who cannot stand by his own words. If you say it in an interview and you said it, own your words. So I don't know, this image, and we're not even thinking about who we are.
So many people tell me that, like why don't you listen? So I rent a place with my friends, okay, except me, all of our fans of, I'm not going to take names, but people who talk about guns and weapons in their songs. Now, so where I stand is that when you talk about weapons and मैं गोली चलाती, बंदा मारता, ये करता, वो करता, it normalizes that.
Yeah.
And you won't. So people I share my flat with, they are like 20 plus, but people who are like 15, 16, and when they listen to these things, like I don't see it, like it's not very far fetched that one of them is actually going to use it. मैं उन्होंने ये कहना कि what if your children are going into weapons and drugs and all of
These are
these things.
children now, so you cannot blame children.
Exactly, but
so the elders
you
have
need to lead by
started-
example.
Elders have started this thing, and where has it come from? If you don't stop to think right now, when you say that I will not pay my maid or the helper in the house more than 5,000, but I will go take a loan and buy a 15 lakh car. I mean, that's the, we were not so such shallow people. So that's what bothers me.
I think you used the right word, shallow. I think it's the apt word for this. So, like, we are done with the podcast. I just want one last advice from you for people who are going through a bad phase, especially in their marriage, because I know divorce is a huge taboo in our society. So, not everyone can get out of it, right? So, I just want for these people who are going through these kinds of trouble, or who knows someone who's going through these kinds of times, what would you advise or what would you suggest to them?
It's not the end of the world. If you fail in a marriage, it's not. And I think the younger generation is much smarter. I have seen women who know when to walk out.
Okay.
So there are a lot of people who still keep that, and the pressure of society. I think the best is that we teach our daughters to be independent, and we do not bring up those frivolous kind of, I'll be honest, why did I stay on for so long? I was married to a very rich guy, used to a very comfortable lifestyle, and I knew I could not earn enough to sustain that lifestyle, not
Yes.
send my children to those kind of schools, and if I don't want to be a burden. But in the end, things got so bad, and I was also so weak. And when I am weak, the other person, things will never change. So first, yes, you have to be independent enough to have your savings and be there, that I can live with respect, to want that, and to be able to afford it, or whatever it is. So women's career should be as important as a man's career. I think that's something has to be there. And then secondly, it's better to be lonely but peaceful than to be living in stress. I would say, like, so many people tell me, oh, you stopped aging, you look younger than you were look 10 years back. I have peace. I might be lonely, I might be like desiring, or might be having to go to court and face cross examination, a lot of different things which I never thought I'll have to go to a police station to file a complaint. There's so many things that which are very scary as how we brought up, but that peace is there, and I think nothing more important than peace right now.
It's worth everything you're going through, is it?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're peaceful. You at least now I have desires. I was at the point I was just like living like a dead person. वो जिंदा लाश में कहते हैं, going through the.
I just want to go through the day, कैसे भी करके.
routines, yeah, just surviving. So now at least I'm living.
Right, ma'am, thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed the conversation, and the things that we talked about needed to be talked about. We talked it today, but I think we are already like 6, 7, 8 years late. But I'm happy that we talked about these things. So thank you so much for your time. ma'am.
Thanks. Never late. Whenever it meant to be, it happens. So
Absolutely.
there's no time for it. But thank you so much for coming over, and I hope it reaches out to somebody who make a slight difference. So yeah, thank
If
you.
it does, our job is done.
Yes.